Hello, my name is Dr. Caroline Walker and I'm an NHS psychiatrist and a full-time doctor's wellbeing specialist. I am making a series of videos about the emotional impact of COVID-19 on doctors, and today I would like to talk about a particular emotion that I'm seeing a lot of in doctors at the moment and I expect to see a lot more of going forward, and that is anger. So traditionally, anger is one of those emotions that we tend to label as being bad or uncomfortable or something that we need to control or avoid or not feel, or any number of things like that. And particularly as in the UK, we have a kind of culture of showing anger not being a good thing, and also as doctors, I think we're kind of taught from a very early stage in our medical careers that it's not okay to get angry, that we have to somehow control it, and yet anger is one of the most natural human emotions that we all experience day to day. And so a lot of my time, even not during pandemics, I spend talking to doctors about anger and just normalising anger and helping doctors to understand that not only is it normal to feel angry, but it's really, really important that we do feel angry, because anger has a lot of helpful properties about it. It's what we feel when something unjust has happened and we need to take action for that. So if somebody is beating somebody up on the other side of this, an old lady up on the other side of the street, and we anger's what kind of makes us go, that's not okay, I'm going to go over and help. So anger isn't it's far from being a bad emotion. It's actually an incredibly helpful one and a very, very normal one to have in normal human life, but particularly normal to be experiencing a lot of right now. And I'm hearing from a lot of doctors who are feeling angry for a lot of different reasons. I'm hearing a lot of doctors very angry about the perhaps lack of preparedness in certain areas around their own health and well-being being protected at work. So availability of PPE and things like that. I'm hearing a lot of doctors very angry that coronavirus has happened at all. It's just come out of nowhere, it feels like, and just turned our lives upside down. A lot of doctors angry at their loved ones and their partners because they're going through something incredibly difficult right now, and perhaps their own needs aren't being met in terms of the support they need from their loved ones. Lots of angry doctors who are seeing what's unfolding and have been for some weeks now, but also seeing their friends, loved ones and colleagues perhaps not taking it so seriously, seeing members of the general public kind of flouting the guidance about self-isolating, for example, when we know just how important that is in stopping the spread and flattening the curve right now. So yeah, lots and lots and lots of anger going around, and really, really understandably and normally. So that's my number one message, is if you're feeling angry, if you're feeling irritable at the moment, if your anger's kind of coming out a little bit sideways, then please don't worry. This doesn't make you a bad person. This just makes you absolutely human like the rest of us. And this is something that's affected me as well. I've been venting anger in slightly wonky directions and myself over the last couple of weeks. So it's incredibly normal, and I think it can be helpful to kind of understand a bit about how to express anger and how to do it in healthy ways, because we're not really taught how to do this. And I spend a lot of time teaching doctors how to do this, and essentially you have to find the right way for you. So I like to think of anger and expressing anger healthily in 3 different ways. So I think about it physically, I think about it verbally, and I think about it in terms of writing or creatively, like doing something with it. So let's think about physically first of all. So anger is a very physical energy and a very physical emotion, and it needs to be expressed. And it's why when we get angry, we kind of tend to, throw things across a room or punch somebody, or, have a kind of very physical reaction. Maybe we stomp out of the room, It's a very, very physical energy, and we need to express it physically, or most of us do. So we all do it differently though. And so if you think back to a time when you perhaps got angry and you lost control, think, what did you do? Were you a thrower? Were you a stomper? Were you a hitter or a shover? Or, everybody's a bit different. Our kind of anger energy tends to come out in different people in different ways. So I'm a kind of a puncher. And sometimes a thrower. And so, what I would suggest is when you're looking to think of ways to healthily express your anger, is to go with what your normal tendency is. So for me, if I'm a puncher, then what I would do to healthily get my anger out without hurting me and without hurting anybody else is to punch something that's firm enough that I'm going to get some satisfaction out of it, but soft enough that it's not going to hurt me. So kind of like a bed or a really firm cushion or something like that. So it's about thinking, if you're a thrower, for example, I have some doctors who carry those little like squashy beanbag things around in their bags, and when they get angry, they'll find a little bit of wall, and they'll just hurl these beanbags at the wall because it gives that real sense of throwing, and you get that kind of impact feeling. You might be somebody that likes to smash things and break things up, and again, that's absolutely fine. You just find a way to do that that's healthy and safe. So maybe you need some safety goggles on, and maybe you do it out in the garden, but you just think it through. So the idea is that you think about the ways that you would normally express your anger physically, and then you think of ways you could do that in a way that isn't going to hurt you and isn't going to hurt somebody else, and then you do it, and you do it in a planned way. So you set aside a little bit of time, maybe 20 minutes, half an hour, and you make sure that you're safe, and everyone's safe, and they kind of, if there's anyone around, they kind of know what you're doing, so that they're not suddenly surprised to find you smashing up bits of furniture or whatever it is you're about to do. But you do it in a planned way, and you give yourself enough time that you can really go for it and really get that anger out, but have enough time to kind of calm down a little bit afterwards as well before you go off and do your next thing. So if you're really going for it, typically people will go maybe 3, 4, 5 minutes, something like that, before they start to get a bit exhausted, or they're a bit like, okay, I've got it all out of me now. And then the rest of the time you can kind of just make sure you're calmed down before you do the next thing. So that's physical anger. So have a think. Are you a stomper? Do you need to stomp on Amazon boxes? Are you a thrower? Do you want to throw beanbags at walls, or teddy bears at walls? That kind of thing. Are you a pusher? Do you need to push at something, or punch at something? Safely. Second way is verbal. So again, really important. We tend to get more shouty or screamy when we're angry. So a really good way to do this is to scream into a cushion again, just so it muffles it, so that you're not like frightening the neighbours or anything like that. And just really go for it. Like, just say whatever it is you want to say. It doesn't matter because no one's going to hear it. But it's really important you get it out. Another good tip for this is doing it in the car, obviously in a safe way. So maybe pulling over, or as you're driving, if you're not going to kind of really lose control or anything, you could just be like talking to yourself, like shouting at whoever it is that you want to be shouting at, but as you're driving along, because then again, nobody can hear. And we all do this probably like without realizing it when we're really fed up. It kind of like happens without us practicing, but I'm talking about doing it quite deliberately, to kind of vent off pressure, because what we're talking about here is like a pressure cooker. And when we get angry, the pressure builds up and up and up, and the lid pops off, right? And that's when you end up shouting at your kids or your loved ones, or that the colleague at work who really didn't deserve it, but basically your lid just popped off and you had no control over it. So what we're talking about doing is, instead of letting the pressure build up and up and up, we're just going to tap some of that pressure off. So we're going to tap it off physically by doing whatever it is you need to do physically regularly. I'd say if you're trying this out for the first time, try 2-3 times a week for 20-30 minutes. You'll soon get used to what you need to do. So I do this now maybe once or twice a year, but at the moment, because I'm like everybody, feeling a little bit more on edge and angry, I might knock it up to maybe once, twice a week, just to tap off some of that anger quite deliberately. So there's the physically, there's the verbally, so screaming or shouting, or singing. Some people do angry singing. And then finally there's like writing, or creatively getting your anger out. So So writing's the most common form of this, but you could do it with, like, say, painting or drawing or something like that. You could do angry scribbling or angry drawing. With writing, I'd say just do it in a place it's expressing, not sending. So just writing it out, either typing it out or handwritten, whatever you prefer, it doesn't matter. But doing it in a place where it's not going to be accidentally sent to somebody. So maybe do it in a Word document rather than in your email account. Maybe do it in your notes on your phone rather than in your text messages. So express, don't send. So write. And again, give yourself permission to just write whatever it is you're feeling and thinking. Use all the like horrible words, because nobody's ever going to have to read this, okay? It's more about you getting it out from in you, out of you. And not necessarily hurting anyone else in the process. So yeah, so those are my top tips for anger. Really normal to be feeling extra angry at the moment. We all are. Whatever it is you're feeling angry about, that's completely understandable and it's okay, but it's about getting that anger out of you in a really healthy way that doesn't hurt you and doesn't hurt anybody else. So have an experiment, try maybe something physical, try something verbal, and try something written or drawing related, and see what works for you. Everybody is different, and when you find the thing that works for you, great, you've got your anger technique, just use it whenever you need to, but it's about doing it in a planned and safe way that's not going to hurt you and not going to hurt others. And as you tap off that anger, you'll find that your lid doesn't pop off quite so often because the pressure isn't quite so much. So yeah, so those are my top tips for anger and doing anger exercises. If this has been helpful, or if you want to share what it is that you do to release your anger, then please drop comments below, like, love, share this with any doctors or anyone else you think it might help who's maybe getting a little bit angry at the moment. You think, oh yeah, they could maybe do to try something like this. And yeah, just please let me know again if this has been helpful, or if there's any other anything else I can do videos about that would help you right now. I'll speak to you again soon. Bye for now.